Hello, everybody. Ella J here on behalf of WrestleZone, and today I am joined by the Queen of Sisu, Lexa Valo. How are you today?
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too, my friend. All the way in, you're based in Germany right now. I'm here
Yes,
in the United
currently
States. I love connecting with talents overseas because I feel like outside of North America, I feel like a lot of the other wrestling scenes don't get spotlighted as much. But my friend, you have been absolutely taking over the European wrestling scene, which we'll talk about a bit later. But as we mentioned, you are the queen of Sisu, and I believe it's actually a Finnish concept based on perseverance and determination. You're obviously Finnish. You yourself have also overcome a lot in your life and career. So, kind of keeping on that theme, what would you say has maybe been the biggest challenge in regards to wrestling, and how would you say you've overcome it?
That's a tough first question, I do have to admit. I would say it's the same for every wrestler. The biggest challenge is to just be patient and just roll with the punches because we all have these big dreams when we start and we all want to make it to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But of course, that's for most of us, unfortunately, not the end goal. And then you really have to see if that is really your passion. Do you care about the WrestleMania? Do you care about wrestling? And then you have to understand, unfortunately, no matter how much work you put in and how patient you are, wrestling owes you nothing. And it can get hard sometimes. And then, like, really most of us have a full-time job as well, but you still have to train and travel and eat and whatever, like professional athlete, and really stick with it. I think that's the biggest challenge, especially when things are not going the way you would want to, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So, like, we all have those down moments. If you're having an off day or a moment of doubt, like you said, what brings you back up? How do you lift yourself to get that motivation back?
That sounds awful, but lately for like the last 2 to 3 years, I'm really into meditation and prayers and that stuff. And I really try to shift my focus more from the negative because, as you say, we all have our down moments and life is not always easy. So I take time to sit down and try to be grateful for something. And sometimes I sit there and I realize, oh my God, my life is awesome. I have this cool friends, whatever. I had this opportunity. And sometimes it's just something like, I went on a walk and I saw a dog and it made eye contact with me. And it sounds so minor, but then you get to realize, wait a minute, I was outside, which means I have a roof over my head. I'm able to go outside, which means I'm able to walk and I'm healthy. And then you really learn to be grateful. And it sounds probably very woo-woo, but that's what really helps me. Just try to stick with your routines and be freaking grateful.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I feel like sometimes we get so lost in the doubt or like, oh, like I want this thing, but I didn't get it. That sometimes, by the way, I'm always here for a cat cameo.
Well,
I have two cats myself.
it's a little gremlin.
Hello, little baby. Aw,
She just
adorable.
had food and now she's curious what's going on. I'm sorry. She's probably
No, it's all
in the
good.
picture a bit more.
I'm all here for cat cameos. I have two cats myself and I welcome it. So if you want to make
Awesome.
another cameo later on, little guy, I'm all here for it. Um, but yeah, as we mentioned, I feel like I'm kind of the same way. You know, sometimes you get lost in why don't you have this and all the what ifs
Right.
and the doubts that sometimes it does take that like, oh, I have done some pretty cool things and just those reminders or like little things like you mentioned, being
Yeah.
grateful for it. What are three things you're grateful for right now in your life since we're on the topic?
Right now, for me, it's always my health. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky about that because I've like a lot of people in my inner circle are struggling with health. I think I'm very lucky for all the opportunities out there that are just given. Like today, that you reached out to me and like, cool, you know who I am. That is
Yeah.
freaking awesome, I think. And I most grateful I'm probably for my support system. I have the coolest family and friends all over. My wrestling coach is one of my best friends. We travel together and they're really there. And I think a support system is often taken for granted, but not everybody has that. And I'm really grateful for them.
Absolutely. It's always important to have that support system too. And
Yeah.
I think me and you have actually been following each other on Twitter for a couple years now. I've been following you
Oh,
for
that's
a
awesome.
hot minute. But like I said, you have such a unique background. Like you said, you're based in Germany, but you are Finnish. We mentioned your nickname. That background is translated into your nickname. Are there any other elements of your Finnish background that you've incorporated into your wrestling character, whether it's ring gear, a move name, or something else? I'm so curious.
I usually go with the Viking theme, which is
Yes.
when you're into Nordic culture, it's kind of an inside joke because Finnish Vikings is not necessarily a thing.
Yeah.
Um, and it started as a joke, but yeah, people were into that. So I go with the Viking theme. A lot of people, especially when they're not from Europe, it kind of blends together. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Um, and thereof, I have a bit of my move set based on that as well. I think it's mainly the way I approach things, not just in life, but also in a wrestling ring. The way I structure my matches is usually I'm not super hot-headed. Um, so it's more of like calm and cold and very calculated,
Yeah.
which a lot of people see as a negative trait of Finnish people. They are also cold and whatever, but if you get to know them, they're really warm-hearted. You, yeah, they're usually a bit distant and they take a minute to warm up and they kind of want to plan every move. And that's basically what my wrestling character is trying to do as well, at least
Yeah.
my heel character.
Yeah, heel is definitely a lot different than babyface. We've seen you in some brutal matches as a heel, which we'll get into a bit later. But you mentioned your ring gear. You have this, like you said, kind of beautiful, kind of Viking queen almost. What would you say are your go-to sources of inspiration when it comes to your ring gear? Is it that Viking culture, or are there other elements that you kind of tie into it?
I have to admit, the last gear was made by Fiberg, and I was really lucky with her because she's, yeah, she's a seamstress, of course, but she's an artist.
Yeah.
So I just give her a couple ideas. It's mainly from movies, or even it could be something like my entrance theme is very specific. So I sent her that and I was like, can you do something? I want a bit Barbie in there, but a bit
Yes.
Viking as well. And she comes up with something. And for me, I'm not a very creative person. I'm very artsy, unfortunately. So that is a big relief. The less I give her, I feel like the best she works. So yeah, it's a bit like just more based on feelings, basically. I have a concept that I describe
Yeah.
to her. She just does it. She's amazing.
I feel it. I myself, I wouldn't say I'm like artistically inclined at all, but if you have a concept and you have somebody who's able to create it to life, that's definitely an amazing thing to have.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about ring gear, I feel like somebody else who has incredible ring gear, much like yourself, is somebody who you've faced. I say maybe the most high profile match of your career. I'm talking about Mercedes Moné. You recently had the opportunity to share the ring with her when she surprised you, Mila Smidt, and of course everyone at EWA, and she captured the EWA Women's Championship. Obviously, you said on Instagram, thank you. That
Yeah.
was such an incredible moment. How was your experience working with Mercedes and your reaction to finding out that she was coming into your title match?
Um, you kind of get a feeling that it could be her when I tell you, oh, we will add somebody to the match. But then
Oh,
again, like, yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere in Europe. Nobody knows who I am. She's not gonna show up. And the whole show was sold out before. She wasn't even advertised. So it didn't
yeah.
make any sense. And then the music hits and you're still like, yeah, huh, it's a cool gimmick. And holy shit, there she is. Um, Surreal, absolutely surreal. I, of course, spent so many hours of my life watching and rewatching her matches. And do have to say, I'm one of those people. I watch everything that's on the network, every little piece of wrestling advice I can get my little paws on. I'm obsessed with that. And I got the feeling that she is truly into wrestling, that she's truly a nice person. But seeing her work in person and getting to know her a tiny bit as a worker, incredible. That was really inspiring because she didn't have to do that. There was no reason. And yeah, she was not like anything like you would imagine her to be. She was so cool, so down to earth. She was so happy to get any ideas in there. And really just, yeah, you could really feel the passion for wrestling. And that for me was something where I understood a bit more how blessed I am to be able to do this and get these opportunities. Because if somebody of her caliber is still appreciating that, I should be freaking grateful again. There it
Yeah.
is. So yeah, I haven't really, yeah, I'm still not really there. I haven't processed the whole thing. It's so cool. And I tell you the same, like I tell everybody, if something is going to happen to me, there's just one clip I want to live on the internet forever. And then it's me in the ring doing her little dance
Yes.
and her coming after me. That was freaking awesome. That was my wrestling moment. I'm good. I can retire tomorrow. Doesn't get
Well,
any
I
better.
I will say you were the defending champion at the time, so I think you're owed a rematch. So I feel like it's
Dude,
kind of obvious, but are you up for that challenge, a rematch?
absolutely. Any day of the week. She's so easy to work with. Of course, like she means business, but I learned a lot. So whenever she decides and wants to come back, yeah, I'm here for it. Let's see. Maybe I'm lucky next time.
You are owed a rematch, so I feel like it's only fitting that we get you one. But we'll have to see. She's taking over everywhere else. She will have to
Right?
come back to
Yeah.
Europe very soon. But you yourself are still the holder of a few other championships, including the first ever Unlimited Wrestling Women's Champion. I feel like this kind of went viral. Your match again. We mentioned Mila Smidt. That was a brutal no disqualification match. I watched it myself. There was a lot
Yeah.
of fun spots in there and a lot of trash talk. And then, the guys jumping her at the end. I guess, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it, you absolutely should. You and Mila are obviously no strangers to one another. But I feel like this one was kind of on another level. Tell us about some of your takeaways from this no DQ title defense against Mila.
I feel like that one was personal. We do have a lot of history together.
Yes.
We've been running into each other in like almost every country in Europe, so to speak. And we kind of grew up together. And Unlimited currently is one of the biggest promotions in Germany. They have, I think, the most views on YouTube as well. So there's a lot of eyes on there. And I have to give her all the credit because she was the first one to win a championship in Unlimited,
Yes.
but it was the men's title. It was then made intergender. And I claimed it for myself, of course, but she really was the reason
Yeah.
why they decided to have a women's championship. So in a lot of places, if it wasn't for Mila, then there wouldn't be any other of us. So of course it was kind of bittersweet for her not winning the championship. Um, I have to admit as well, it wasn't maybe like me showing my best side possibly, but I think yeah, if anybody is into that and they want to look it up, they should really take the time and watch the whole feud because we
Yeah.
really evolved as wrestlers together and the story involved, and it's very Unlimited is very storyline based. So yeah, it only made sense for her to come back after my injury with a new attitude and with the no DQ. And yeah, that was yeah, it was really emotional for both of us because we have this long history together
Yeah.
and we really wanted to evolve the storyline and give the fans a match that they can relate to, that they can get more behind, and that they're still interested. Because obviously it was a rematch for the championship, and now she has to find something else to do because of course, she's a big part of Unlimited. She's not out of there. But where is she going now? What's now happening with me? If even Mila can't beat me, who's it gonna be? So it was really,
Good
yeah, it was really
question.
intense.
Hmm.
It was really fun. It was really painful. Really painful, I have to say. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, who is gonna beat you? I know you just defended against Session Moth Martina too as well. You are still the inaugural champion. I is the belt behind you, by the way? Is that
Yes, this one's the unlimited one.
yes. Beautiful.
Yes.
Yes. You're a bit of a belt collector yourself, my friend. I've seen you.
I tried, but then yeah, I dropped the ball somewhere. So I'm trying again now.
Like we said, you're owed a rematch, so that will hopefully be your chance to get that one back. But you mentioned, you and Mila are definitely, I would say, two standout figures on the European scene. But for those who are maybe unaware of the European scene, tell us about some of the other performers that we should maybe be taking notice of, you think?
I have a whole list. So when you look over to Europe, mainly people look into UK, which is
Yes.
amazing. That's like, I think for everybody in wrestling, not just in Europe, UK is the place where you want to go. They are like so advanced in everything, and the scene is so different. And then when you go out of UK to mainland Europe, it's completely different. There is hardly any wrestling. It's not really known. If you're in the bubble, then you will realize in Germany we do have a lot of wrestling, Austria as well.
Yeah.
But it's it's not present. A lot of times I meet people and they find out I'm a wrestler and they're like, oh, like Hulk Hogan. I'm like, yeah, I'm basically
Kind
the
of,
same.
yeah.
But it's like, oh, I didn't know it was a thing. And I have all like these typical questions like, what is it? Is it fake? Why do you do that? Does it hurt? And I have no concept of wrestling. I train martial arts as well, and I'm lucky
Ooh,
with my dojo. They're really cute. But yeah, they're just constantly making fun of me, of course. And next time we're in the area, I know my coaches are gonna be front row and they will give me a hard time.
yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very different because there's maybe one or two promotions in every country. We have a bit more in Germany, but yeah, it's as I said, it's not present. There's not a lot of money to make. So especially the girls coming up here, for them it's really hard to find a place to train. And if they find a place to train and they're lucky and they have a good place to train, then they're still lacking connections. Not just like vitamin B and get me on a show, but this usual questions that we have. And a guy couldn't tell you like, hey, what about my ring gear? What do I do with my hair? What kind of makeup do I need? This is all things people will say and dismiss and be like, oh, you don't need that, but you do need that. If you want to go out
It's
there, you want to be
presentation.
respected.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like in the States, that's just very common and it's
Yeah.
understood that it's like a whole act. And here sometimes it's no, you want to be taken seriously. You don't need to look pretty. But then again, who are you gonna put in a poster? Somebody that looks good, the guy with the good shape, the guy with the cool gimmick, and the girl that stands out. So they don't really have somewhere to go and ask all those questions. A couple of years ago, the scene was very flat. There wasn't many of us. There was a lot of gatekeeping, so it was really hard for them. And those that come up now, come up so to speak, um, I think there's a lot of potential, and definitely some to look out for. So, some of my favorites currently here in mainland Europe, in Germany, is Loki. She's very young, cool gimmick, little punk rock chick, but yeah, she's a firecracker, and she definitely has a big future. Just shortly returned in last show is Violet Saint. She's been around for a bit, but unfortunately was injured, and it took
Yeah.
her forever. Like it took her 2 years to come back.
Wow.
And she's such a fighter, such a badass. a lot of people would have just given up. But yeah, somehow she just managed to have her comeback match and she didn't miss a beat. Very young as well. Yeah, there's plenty of them. I have a whole list on my Instagram and a highlight reel with them.
Yeah.
So those two definitely, I think, are the next to make the leap and to, yeah,
Yeah.
just get out there. And then outside of Germany, Diana Strong, of course, no stranger. Everybody knows her. Um, yeah, there's a couple of really cool girls in Austria as well. Moxie is one of my favorites to work with. She's just so easygoing and typical Austrian, just like old school, go with the
Yeah.
punches. Very easy. And in Austria, they have a kind of like an underground scene, and I do a lot of all female events. It's all like, I mean, very feminist. So if people might be familiar with the concept of Pro Wrestling Eve in the UK,
Yes.
um, they might like those Flinter events as well. It's really cool. There's a lot of like colorful girls in there and all very different. Yeah, drag wrestling is becoming a bit more, which is super entertaining. We just get our first show in Germany now in September. Yeah, I think that's it's very different.
And I feel like it because wrestling is not just wrestling, like you said, it's a performance art. I love
Yeah.
to see all the different elements. I'm an avid watcher of Eve, so I'd be really into that to see more of the underground kind of drag entertainment wrestling aspect of it. That sounds really intriguing to me. And I'm sure a lot of other people will be as well. I know Baby Allison is another one, Orsi is another one. There's a lot of what is it, the eastern side or like the southern eastern side
Yeah.
of Europe has a lot of great talents over there that you get to interact with. You're no stranger to the European scene, but I'm sure at the top of your head, there's some places that you haven't been yet that maybe you're eyeing. So, what are some of those locations in other countries that you're hoping to travel to or work in that you haven't yet?
So I'm definitely missing France on my list. I've never wrestled in
Really?
France.
Even with Mila being like all around France?
Right?
Interesting. Okay.
No, that's the thing, like she's stalking me. She's just stalking me
You got to return
everywhere.
the favor now.
Right? She always claims that I'm stalking her, but that is proof that
Funny.
she is really stalking me.
It's funny.
I have been there. I have never been to Ireland. I've never been to Scotland, and that's definitely on the list. For
Yeah.
me, yeah, UK was always the goal. England, and I was lucky enough that it happened really early in my career. I would love to do more there because the scene is very different. The girls are completely different.
Yeah.
I learned so much from them, not just in ring, but mainly outside of the ring. So yeah, more UK, Scotland, Ireland. Well, I think like if I had to decide, it would be Ireland. They're really, yeah, they have a different style of
They're
wrestling, a
feisty. They're
different,
fiery. Yeah.
yeah, I like that. I like it a bit more rough. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
that would be interesting. Yeah.
You've mastered the wrestling aspect of wrestling, but I know last year you kind of dipped your toe into refereeing as well when you officiated a match for Rock and Roll Wrestling Bash. So, how was your experience refereeing a match, and would you do it again?
It was pure panic. Pure panic. I was just there to watch the show.
Mhm.
My coach was wrestling there and they were lacking a referee. I was like, sure, I have my gear in the car. I can fill in. It was pure chaos because it's not the normal concept of wrestling. So that was
Yeah.
probably a lot easier because I didn't have to remember much. But of course, they had a hardcore match and something went wrong. And I was like, oh my God, how do I fix it? Um, and my ring awareness is very different from a referee. I always say a good referee is one that you don't notice in the ring. And that's,
Yeah.
to me, the biggest compliment I can give them. I felt like I was constantly in the way. I had no clue where to go. Even though I have sat in training and heard coaches tell the referee where to stand and where to go and what to do. I had no clue. I
Yeah.
think I did everything wrong that you can do wrong. It was, yeah. I'm just glad it wasn't on camera or like something filmed or super important. The guys were easygoing. I had no clue. No clue what I was doing. It's a lot of people say, oh, they're just a prop, just count to three. That's the whole job.
Nope.
Yeah, you would think, but it's not. It's a lot more difficult.
Really puts
But
things
yeah,
into perspective and probably makes you appreciate them more.
it humbles you. It
Yeah.
humbles you. So yeah, it was fun. I would do it again for sure. Um, but I'm a lot more comfortable on the wrestling side.
Yeah.
I Yeah,
Maybe with a bit more preparation ahead of time, you might feel more comfortable refereeing again. But it's always good to get those like non-wrestling experiences, whether it's like commentary or like doing interviews or refereeing, getting yourself well-rounded and everything. Maybe just a little bit more preparation next time. But so we're not closing the door on Lexa Valo referee. But for now,
right.
like you said, you're largely going to be focused on your in-ring work.
But
But I
that's
do
the
have,
point.
yeah,
Sorry,
I do,
maybe preparation is the point because I always had that when I did commentary, I did it twice. And it
yeah,
was the same thing. I was at the show and I was injured and I felt bad because I was just booked for a promo and I was like, I'm robbing you off. I need to do something. Can I do
yeah.
whatever, like commentary? And I'm like, sure, join us. And it sounds so easy. I had no clue what I was doing, but here we
It's
are.
good to dip your toes in it, keep yourself well-rounded because like in the event of, injury, knock on wood, you can still be a valuable asset elsewhere. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, working on that.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, just like your wrestling once was. But I do have to say, you have been involved in some really cool non-wrestling projects, such as your music video. I know it's been a couple years, your music video with Butcher called, I think it's called Iron Bitch,
Yeah,
the metal band. You were modeling in there. Tell us about your experience filming for a music video. I don't think that's your first music project that you've been involved in either. But tell us about your experience filming the music video. That sounds so awesome.
that was so cool. I actually, yeah, I did two, but I think only one really made it, which was
Got it.
the speed metal one. And I'm obviously more of a metal person than a
Yeah.
pop person.
Yeah.
But the pop thing was pretty cool. We were two girls in there, but one of them wasn't really a wrestler, so it was a bit difficult to make. And there was really wrestling involved. But yeah, for the speed metal one for Butcher, it was just like I don't know why, but they were at the show in the Netherlands, and I saw my entrance. They were like, "We need her for the video." I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And I never thought it would really follow through. It was really cool. They're really nice people, very structured. It was a lot of fun. Um, I wasn't in there necessarily as a wrestler, but I got to chop somebody. Yeah, it was interesting. That was probably one of my favorite outside of wrestling experiences
Hmm.
because I'm usually not like super in the middle of everything and I'm not super comfortable in front of a camera. And they're like,
I would have never guessed, to be honest.
well, I'm trying, but yeah. I like to watch people more than be there in front myself, but I know, of
Fair.
course, it's part of the job, and so you adapt and learn. But
Yeah.
it's different when you're in your wrestling character and you're going out to wrestle, which you have trained 1,000 times, or
Yeah.
there's 15 people standing there and be like, yeah, just do this and watch this camera, look in this direction. Oh, here's the lighting. And you're like, what are you doing? Very different. But it was cool. Yeah, it was fun. I would like to do that again.
Yeah, I think that not a lot of people get to be part of like music videos and that stuff. So it sounds, and it's like you said, kind of with your favorite or preferred genre of music. So it's kind of bringing two things together. Two more questions for you. You've done a little bit of like modeling, like we mentioned. You're obviously big into wrestling, but if you think back to little Lexa, what did she envision the older version of herself doing when she got older? Was it always wrestling, or did you have another dream when you were younger?
I was always a dreamer, to be honest. And I think if I would have been introduced to wrestling a bit earlier, um, then I would probably like it. But I was very much into ice hockey and I played
Oh,
for like
yeah.
16 years. And I always wanted to be a professional hockey player, and I have the most awesome parents ever. Um, and I have two older sisters, and I don't know how my parents did it, but my dad was at every practice, and they never had the guts to tell me that I will never be paid to be a hockey
Oh,
player. So, yeah, I remember my dad really moving heaven and hell to get me into good teams, and
hmm.
they just, I'm just realizing once I get older how much money they spend on me, just yeah, just living my dream. And yeah, so my dad was like trying to find some way because I'm the youngest, I'm the princess, and he
Yes.
didn't want to break my heart. So he found out that the only way would be over the military. And he made
Oh.
some connections.
Hmm.
And when I was 17, he took me there for just basic interview. And I don't know how, but he knew the guy, and they would probably have signed me, but then we're like, yeah, it's just 9 months of basic training. And I was like, basic training. Wait, with a gun? And they're like, yeah, you're a soldier with a gun. I'm like,
No
hello.
thanks. Yeah, yeah.
And you no guns for me. And yeah, my dad was in the military himself for like
Hmm.
15 years or something. He was probably so disappointed in me that I never thought about the opportunity of like needing a gun for the military. But yeah, all my life, I just wanted to move around and do something not necessarily artsy, but kind of creative.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I do have to say, I was never the kid that was put over for like, oh my God, you're so smart, you're so creative. I was like, oh my God, you have so much energy and you learned this movement so far. So for me, it was always something, some career in sports. But then, yeah, sports entertainment came up and I was like, that's it.
Yeah. I
So
do
not
have to
so
say
far away,
there is a bit of irony of you wearing camo right now and you
right?
turning down a military career. But I totally get it. Trust me, I wouldn't
Right.
want to go out into the battlefield either. I'd be terrible. All of that just to maybe play ice hockey is kind of crazy.
Right.
Um, but final question, as we're looking towards the future now, what would you say are some of your personal and professional goals for the rest of 2025 and 2026?
Pretty boring. I will sound so old now. So if somebody is turning out, then I'm sorry. Um, I had a couple injuries and now realizing that probably there is not that much left in me. So for the last year, I've been focusing more on working with promotions and really building up their women's division. And I'm trying to like make a couple connections, connect people. And as I said earlier, that I don't know much, but the little things that I learned and now I'm happy to like tell people and help the girls a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm for this year and next year, I'm trying more to build more of a women's division, especially in Germany, because we have so many cool girls. And I don't know, like sometimes promoters are just booking the same people. Um, and then they're like, oh, this person is not available. We don't have any girls. And there's plenty of them. So I really want to kind of hop on the train that wrestling is becoming more popular in Germany, but I want to open it more up for the girls. And yeah, I'm super annoying, especially in the ring and on camera and all that, but I promise I'm not that horrible in real life. So I'm focusing more on have a platform and build my platform to just open it up for other
Yeah.
girls. Just because I know it was very hard when Mila or baby Allison and I, when we started, there
Yeah.
wasn't many of us. It was really hard. A lot of us didn't stick with it. And it's a bit easier for the girls now. And I want to make it as easy as possible for them. Because it was really hard for us. And I don't want them to go through the same bullshit. Um, I don't think that's necessary. So that's what I'm trying, keeping my eyes open, expanding and trying to get more views on. Mainly, it's GAW Unlimited. They're Suplex They're really building their women's division. So
I
that's
think
my goal.
I think somebody needs to sponsor you so you can start your own women's division. That's what I'm
I
saying.
freaking love that. I would love to book but not promote. That's
Yeah,
too much
fair.
stress for me. But like
Fair.
getting everybody together, there's so
Yeah.
many cool girls outside.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they just need a little more eyes on them. They just need this one chance because I know they are hell of a wrestler. Every one of them. They're a lot better in the ring than I am. They just need a chance. The UK had that for years. Everybody knows, oh, the girls from the UK, they're top notch, and they
Yeah.
are. But there's a lot of girls coming up from Europe. There's a young Czech girl, Hayden Wynn is her name. She's the only female Czech wrestler, and it's so hard for her in her promotion because they need to fly somebody in, and that's in most promotions an issue that women's wrestling is too expensive.
Yeah.
And she just started to travel, just killing it. She's absolutely killing it. But of course, always being the only girl at training, the only girl at shows, and being told, "Oh, we don't have a spot for you." It's not really helping your self-esteem. And yeah, that's really a shame. So I would wish for them to have more support and just live their dream.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially because a lot of the stuff is so spread out too, as well, that there might be one person here, one person there, and like you said,
Yeah,
but fingers crossed, I'm a big fan of women's wrestling. I love your vision. Now it's just can we fit the all the pieces together? Obviously.
yeah.
But in the meantime, Lexa, please let the listeners know where they can find you online and support you.
I'm bad at it's not Twitter anymore, right? Is
It's
it
Twitter
X
to me
now?
still.
Oh, okay. We're all it's Twitter. I'm not good there. I'm more active on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's Lexa Valo, just very easy. Yeah, just if you want to leave me a follow and a like, send me a message, something. Again, I have a little highlight reel that is called Girls, and there's a couple of girls that are not only some of my favorites, but some of like my followers have mentioned I will do this every couple months. So if there's somebody you have on your mind, please send them my way, and then let's help to get them booked somewhere.
Absolutely. And you keep killing it, girl, because you are such a star in the European division. And obviously we're manifesting that rematch, that rightful rematch with Mercedes Moné so you can
Yeah.
get your title back. In the meantime, though, thank you so much for chatting with me here today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your time, your patience. So cool to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Same here.